This is the front part of the food forest. Got some pigeon pea. How this is beneficial is, for one, if need be, I can eat it as string beans and cook them over the stove, or I can eat the little tiny beans that are inside. Pardon, I'm working with gloves. I'm working close to the caster. I don't want to touch it with my bare hands, but it just makes these little black-eyed peas. And I always think of pump up the radio whenever I'm cutting or processing these. So I've already harvested quite a bit of seeds, so I'm going to use that next year, but provide shade, pumping sugars and into the soil, and forming relationships with the nitrogen fixing bacteria, and so it eventually has to come out. So what I like to do is I take it, push it up, and I'm going to take it right at the base, so that way it's not going to re-sprout. So I'm going to cut it right down there at the bottom, and then I'll show you the rest. So got it right here. That's what I'm going to do, because this is so stringy. I want it to make good contact with the ground. I'm going to pop right there. I'm just going to pop all these little limbs off, kind of like we did with the moringa in the earlier video, but most surface to soil contact. If I want, I could even run my hand up these and strip all the leaves off before I even did that, but I've been doing this for a good bit, so I'm just going to lay down like this. The thing that I like doing is I'll crunch it in half. I take my secateurs, I just run it up the center, just give a good couple crunches. It's okay if it's not perfect. I can even give one on the side, take off an end, and then I'm going to lay this next to my crop or whatever I want to do well. I have jackfruit in here, but there's nothing really in close vicinity, so I'll set it on my sugar cane. It's right here, because sugar cane is hungry and I want it to do its best through the winter. I got another one, I'll show it again. So that alternative way is stripping leaves, but these break readily. So you see that I have leaves. I could just throw these down the bottom as I strip them. And so it's going to create basically a leaf mold, and it's going to be nice green, so it's storing a little bit of moisture. Leaves are really good at providing a big thick mulch. It's not very good if you have a lot of seedlings in there, because it will suppress any future seeds. And now I have this kind of stringy mess. I can just pull until it's mostly straight. So I saw before it's bunchy. Now it's a nice set of straight sticks. I don't have to pull every little branch off. I have a bunch of straight sticks. I can lay that crosswise on the leaves. That's going to hold it down and provide a little bit of extra pressure. As you can see, I've already processed some of the castor out front. Looks kind of ugly. Neighbors probably hate me, but it's good for the soil. And also, while I'm down here, if I see any diseased castor leaves, which I guess I just sort of popped it off by accident, but I mean, I like to clean it up if it's showing that it's starting to dry out. Like this isn't too bad, but if I saw this further across the castor leaves, then I would snap that branch off and mulch it just like I did the cowpea. But the cowpea is going to hold a little bit better, because you can tell this is like a nice thick rubbery stalk, where the castor, if you can see, let me try to line that up with the camera. So it's made of hollow segments, so it's nice and airy, but it's not going to hold moisture as well as the actual stalks of the cowpea. So I'm just going through the entire area and sorting out any of the ones, because they're past their season and it's time to let a little more light into the jungle. The safe round, why you want to leave the roots intact and not pull them out, so that way there's carbon for any of the fungi to kind of feed on, and then also for the microbes to break down, and that'll eventually become a pathway for next year's plants, or even this year's plants, to kind of go and fill those voids. And so basically you're leaving the fertility that it gained while stacking the heavy nitrogen items on top. I mean, there's multiple schools of thought on leaving a bunch of that detritus. I mean, you're kind of inviting pests that will eat and attack your plants, but I mean, if you're providing good soil for your plants, that's been munched on, all that carbonaceous material and everything that's laid on top, then you're going to have stronger plants that can fend and defend against any pests that would ordinarily eat it. So most bugs like eating junk food, kind of like us, you know. I mean, they're going to eat things that are diseased or dying. They're the cleanup crew. So if you have bugs in massive infestations, usually that means that your plants are sick. I get there's sometimes like kind of things that differentiate it, but maybe you planted at the wrong time, or you're not, you know, giving it what it needs. And usually you don't really need a whole lot of like outside like influence, like fertilizers and sulfurs and everything else like that. The root exudates will actually talk to the microbes and the fungi, and it'll tell it, hey, I need this, you know. And if that item, so to speak, or that that mineral is available, then the microbes will get to it. So if you have just really like hard pan soil, you know, sometimes it is good to amend a little bit, but in most cases, you know, generally don't need to amend, just mulch, compost, and yeah, just look out for it. You know, a lot of plants get sick because they're being watered too often or too little. With mulching, you can manage that sway either way a lot better than if you weren't to have mulched, you know, because otherwise you're overwatering it, and then very quickly, especially out here in the desert, then you're very quickly underwatering it because we're so dry and so hot. But, you know, that was my TED Talk.